Thank you for joining us. This is the great day where we're going to unveil Extra Life 2025 plans. So, I want to introduce, if you don't know who I am and who Erin Reddick are. So, Erin is our Vice President of Programs at Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. Hi, Erin.
Hello.
And I'm Jeff Montague. I'm the director of Extra Life. And then we do have Adam Shifani, our senior community manager, and Chelsea Crown, our Extra Life manager. Chelsea and Adam are going to be moderating, and like Adam's going to mute everybody if y'all start talking and stuff like that. 2025 is going to be the first phase in what we're calling like a 3-year plan to evolve and adapt Extra Life, the program. Hopefully, like the changes that we make this year become inspiration for changes next year. But before we get too deep into that, we do have a special guest. We have Landon and his mom here, Anne, and they're gonna share their story. And Landon is one of our 2025 national champions from San Diego and Rady Children's Hospital. So we'll watch Landon's video and then y'all can say a few words, maybe give us a little more
Hi,
information.
my name is Landon, and a fun fact about me is I do parkour.
He's really outgoing and funny. I know you want to say annoying. What? No.
He's doing all the things, being a kid, like he should be, playing video games all the time.
Okay, I got one.
He actually had never played video games ever until he got diagnosed. So November 17th, 2020. Remember that day like it was yesterday.
I used to do soccer a lot. I started panting a lot, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't make it through a practice at all. So we went to Rady Children's Hospital to find out what was happening to me. First, they thought it was lymphoma, the way I presented it, but later we found out it was leukemia.
It was height of COVID, so getting into any kind of doctor was really hard. As soon as we were admitted there, because he was having difficulty breathing, they brought him into an x-rays right away. When the doctor came back in, the look on his face told me something was wrong. They found a mass the entire size of his chest. It had collapsed his lungs, compressed his heart, and pushed down on his kidneys. So they had to do a bone marrow aspiration to see if it had spread to his bones, and it had. He spent over a week in the PICU just running tests. Within a couple of days of us being there, they did 4 procedures for him. I couldn't be in the room with him, but the wonderful child life there was able to be there. His treatment was for 1,247 days. It was hard, but you make it through it. And I was anti video games for the longest time, but now I'm not, because that brings people together.
We always played like every single day on Fortnite when I was in the hospital. It distracted me from what was going on in the hospital, and it made my experience easier because I got to talk to my friends.
Landon enjoys still going to the hospital now just because of the doctors, the nurses, the child lives, the parent liaisons, all of them. Like without them, I don't think we would have the same experience that we had. He got to ring the bell in April of this year, so he is officially cancer-free, but we're still there doing his follow-ups, and he will be there all the way until he's 21. My hopes and dreams for Landon, I want him to be a kid again, and I want him to be happy. To know that the experience and everything, all of his heartache, all of his trauma, everything that he's been through doesn't define him, isn't who he is. It's just a part of his story. We will do everything we can to make other lives better because of ours, what we've experienced.
So that is, I think that's an amazing story. Thank y'all for sharing for one. And I do love the gaming reference. And I think I see a lot of extra lifers making comments in chat about it. Also, like somebody did the parkour in there. And again, before we jumped on the call, and you were telling us about, right, the game, like you said in the video, about how Landon's got friends that he made through gaming that are still friends today, right?
Yeah, he made, that was, like I said, it was height of COVID, and it was literally just him and I in the room. He could have no visitors. no other parents there. It was just one parent at a time. And so his only way to stay in communication with anybody, his sister, his brother, was through gaming and gaming online. And so when he started gaming at the hospital, he met kids, and they have stayed really good friends to this day. He actually was just on with Dino, one of the guys he played with when he was in the hospital. They have stayed. There's a tight knit group that has stayed together this whole time. And one day I really hope for them all to meet each other in person, because they are from across the United States. So yeah, gaming is amazing, and it actually has brought a lot of joy to both of our lives. So yeah.
That's one of the things I like about gaming too, is right, like you have friends. I've got friends through gaming that I've had for 15, 20 years that I still have not met in person, but probably know
Yeah.
them better. Like they know more about me and I know more about them. Like we're closer than the person that lives next door to me. Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep,
So that's what's
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Anything else you want to share, Landon? What you got?
Uh,
What are you playing right now?
Yeah, that's
right now, I'm playing Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, and Call of Duty.
Okay. Oh, you like
Roblox.
the FPS games, huh?
Yeah, and Roblox.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, Roblox, yeah. Absolutely.
Throw in some
Marvel
Valorant.
Rivals, so we downloaded it. I
Oh
need to
yeah, I
play
forgot.
that.
And Valorant, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, yeah, thank you all for joining us. Thanks for sharing your story with the Extra Life community. This is, I would say, the most passionate group of people that support Children's Miracle Network hospitals of all. And so I'm proud to represent Extra Life, and we're so glad that you were, supportive of the program, supportive of Rady Children's. And right, we hope to see you. We'll see you at CHW, right?
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for having us.
Thank
Hey,
you.
All right.
Jeff, before Landon hops off, I have a question. So Landon, the people on the call are ones that are fundraising for their extra lifers all over the country, and they're raising money for their local children's hospital. Do you have a message for them or anything to tell them before they hop off? Anything to wish them well in their fundraising or why they should fundraise?
Yeah, thank you guys all for fundraising. It really helps a lot of kids like me, and it helps a lot of people who are going through tough times like I did. And what you guys do really matters, and it's really important to a lot of people. Thank you a lot for donating and raising funds for everyone.
Awesome. All right, we'll see you in Fortnite.
Yeah.
One of the things to know is like we are entering our 17th year of Extra Life, and we are still the biggest and the best cause gaming program in the world, not just the US and Canada, Graham. Together, we've raised more than $130 million since 2008. And like any vibrant community, that means we are constantly evolving, right? And so to ensure that we continue to inspire gamers, just like all of you who joined at one point, you were not an extra lifer, something inspired you and got you to join and stick with it. That we make that real difference in kids' lives, like we just saw with Landon's story. And we have 170 member hospitals across the U.S. and Canada, and so we've spent the last few months, the Extra Life team at CMN Hospitals, we spent the last few months kind of in deep thought. And so, Aaron, kind of maybe you want to share a little bit about what that deep thought was like.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. First, drop in the chat where you're joining us from. We'd love to know what city you're in or where you're able to tune in tonight. Thanks for making time to be with us. It's been a wild ride the past, 6 months, Jeff?
Yep.
We have reorged our entire organization, and we are putting resources in the appropriate places based on numerous factors. But I want you to know you're in really good hands with Extra Life. Adam, Chelsea, Jeff, my team is incredible, and they're doing just such incredible work. So thank you for being part of that. Thanks for making time tonight to hear how you can be engaged. But I want you to know at the national level and at our organization, we are spending a lot of resources and time committed to growing and evolving this program for the best. We've conducted extensive feedback from our incredible community. Some of you on the call have been part of that. So thank you, from surveys and focus groups to post-event reflections and really just community observations. So I met some of you at Ignite last summer. I was a program director at one of our member hospitals the day that Extra Life was announced from our national main stage. And it was this brand new initiative to raise more money for local hospitals. But I had no idea what that even meant, right? That was 17 years ago, and now I'm working at our national office and have seen the evolution of the program since that day. So I want you to know we all want to grow it. That includes me as well. And we're going to do whatever it takes to make this the best season of Extra Life, and it's only going to build from there. With all of our feedback, one really resounding loud message emerged. You are eager to innovate and embrace new possibilities. And so I'm really excited for that, Jeff. We're entering, like Jeff said, our 17th year, and we recognize that with this maturity, it's bringing an opportunity for new growth. The unwavering dedication that you all show truly is inspiring. Your commitment for helping your local children's hospital and local kids and keeping Extra Life as the world's leading cause gaming program is the heart and soul of our success. So truly, a thank you to all of you. This year, our focus is on building upon our strengths, continually refining existing practices. And now with that will come some changes and new ways that we will effectively serve our mission. Our mission, by the way, is to bring people together to raise money for children's healthcare in local communities. So with that in mind, Jeff, I'll toss it back over to you to unveil the 2025 Extra Life important dates and activations.
All right. So I think I saw somebody comment about Battle Pass, and that's the perfect segue. So one of the things as we started to look at Extra Life the year, and we are, we talk about, oh, sign up for Extra Life, but we have kind of moments in time, right? We have tabletop weekend, we have game day, but we want to make sure that we structure the Extra Life year as like a seasonal approach, just like games like Fortnite or Overwatch or Rocket League and things like that. So it's kind of like, how do we, quote, not gamify Extra Life, but at least we are gamers. So let's organize in a way that gamers might understand. So when we look at the year, we're going to start to see like tabletop season would be January till the end of April. So it's kind of like 4-month seasons. And then we enter recruitment season, and then we enter game day season, right? So recruitment season will come with some challenges, like there'll be challenges to recruit, but like literal challenges for you to win some stuff if you recruit and stuff like that. We'll get into that. And then so you kind of see the event moments on the top. So thinking about like everything we do, when we recruit, when we talk about fundraising, whatever we do in the first quarter or third of the year right now is going to be tabletop themed. So we didn't quite start in January like we wanted to. So like next year, like we start January, it's tabletop time, right? Or it's the tabletop battle pass. And yeah, maybe I'm not this year, but maybe we will have conversations about like, is there a way to actually do something where it's like, if you participate in this season, the next season, do you start to stack up kind of points, rewards, something like that, to where like you're signing up for this season where you do tabletop, and that might not mean you do the other seasons or things like that. So just like in games, you can opt into a season, and each season has a bit of a theme or a concept of its own. So here's the fun thing about tabletop weekend. Even though the actual weekend, we are going to bill it as April 11th to the 13th, which does align with National Board Game Day in the US. And we really want to make sure, though, we start to, again, that step one on the 3-year evolution is that tabletop weekend might ultimately become a misnomer, because we really want it to be about the full season, and especially the month of April. So when the landing page is up already, extra-life.org/tabletop weekend, or if you go to extra-life.org homepage, the homepage is all about tabletop. And it goes, and you learn more, goes to the tabletop landing page as well. And like the month-long reward challenge is for this cool Extra Life Dice Tower. And so that's it. Like you're not going to only raise the $100 to get the Dice Tower between the 11th and 13th. We're giving people April 1st to the 30th, the full month, to raise as much as they can. So yeah, like maybe in the future, does it still stay tabletop weekend? This year it will, but we really, if you look at how we're presenting it, the other thing we're doing is we're specifying and simplifying how people could get involved, because at the local level, you're the best chance we have to recruit more gamers. But tabletop is a special kind of event or season where you don't really have to be the stereotypical hardcore gamer to support the kids in your local hospital through like board games or things like that. So we have it set up to where if somebody comes to visit this, even if it's my neighbor who knows nothing about gaming, doesn't consider themselves a gamer, but what they could do like a board game night at home with 6 people. So these are very simple, low barrier to entry type fundraising ideas. Each card actually tells them very specifically, instead of just saying play games, help kids, it's like, what do you mean by that? How do you fundraise by playing games? So we're giving kind of like the vision for what that might look like. And then there's some resources on there as well. So especially for the people, it's like host a game night fundraiser. It has the simple stuff that's like, okay, invite 6 friends and only like just raise $100, right? We don't want people to opt out if they think they have to raise $10,000, right? We'll take the $10,000, yes, but let's start with 100 and then see what they go from there. And then we do have, like, so social games, trivia night type stuff, miniature painting, and yes, Futiles, Crokinole is mentioned in the social games thing. So that was from last week whenever we did the thing. So we're going to offer the prize. The Dice Tower from Norse Foundry is going to make it again. And it is going to be $100 raised for platinum participants, raise $100 between April 1st and April 30th. So then we go into the national recruitment season. That's going to start in June. We'll put out some information about that. Recruitment is going to be, we're thinking of ways that we can put a challenge together, give a reward for it if you do whatever. The key that we're figuring out right now is how do we track it, right? And how do we track it in a way that doesn't make it a tougher experience on the person who's signing up, right? To who recruited you and that kind of stuff. So last year we did a national hype call and a recruitment push. That was August, September. What we learned though is it was too close to game day, and we kind of just shifted right from the hype call right into game day and fundraising. So that's why we're going to do this earlier in the month of June. And one thing that's not on the slide is we tested Star Wars Day fundraising last year. That went really well. We are going to have some Star Wars Day push as well. So for all you Star Wars fans, we want to keep that momentum going. Game Day. All right. So Game Day is also a bit of a misnomer now, because Game Days just doesn't flow as well. So we're still going to call it Game Day right now. But we are going to observe Game Day November 8th through the 15th or 16th, right? It's that full week. And part of this is some of the like Aaron said, we've done a lot of feedback. We've looked at, talked to different people. What we've seen is, one, this isn't really telling people to shift behavior. It's recognizing this is how people are already choosing to fundraise. Like, we may say Game Day is this day, but everybody's kind of choosing the day that works for them. So we're going to embrace that. So if you are an extra lifer and it's like, hey, pick any day, the game day is a personal decision on when's your game day. And that's how we're going to kind of communicate that. And we're going to expand the window, because the other thing we saw is a lot of people started to opt out, say like, oh, I can't do extra life this year because the day doesn't work for me. And we want to make sure that people know, like, that day, it's a suggestion. But in reality, like, this is about you picking the day that works best for you. I mean, think about how many, I'm sure that all the people on this call probably fundraise more than just on the game day, right? You fundraise year round, or you fundraise a couple of times a year. So, right. So we're going to create, like, we're starting to bend to where game day becomes a campaign concept, or again, that seasonal approach to it. So what else are we doing in 2025? Let's talk about the rewards that we're going to give. So one of the things we always used to do is we try to keep everything a secret, because we think everybody's going to get excited when we announce it at the last minute. And I think we're going to go the other direction, where we're going to let you know what's going on, because we want everybody to get excited about it. It's kind of like the same reason they tell us that there's going to be an Avengers movie in 2020, whatever, and we've got 2.5 years to look forward to it. So let's talk about what's coming so that we have time to get excited and plan for it. So I already told you about the Dice Tower. So then we do have, it's a concept, but the $2,000 platinum premium reward this year is going to be a sling bag. Now, this is a concept, but it will have that plastic cover that's see-through, and you put your pens that slide on the inside so that you don't lose your pens. We might even put a pen to get you started in it. The zipper pulls will be the Extra Life logo, the Extra Life icons, and the badge, or the Extra Life, is also going to be on that little thing that connects the strap to it. And so Captain Alex, who did the controllers last year, are the ones that he's going to be making the bags for us this year. So we're very excited about that one. And then what's next? I guess we can make the hoodie. If we remember, hoodie design contest last year, the winner of that design, we're going to work with them. So Tasty Peach didn't design it, but Tasty Peach is going to kind of work with the designer to bring it into a reality and get the hoodies produced. And we'll have a challenge for how people can unlock those. I will have to say, like, they may be limited edition. So we'll pay attention later this year whenever we are able to announce kind of like this is what's happening and this is when it's coming. But yes, we're going to get as close as we can to this very awesome concept. So be on the lookout for that. We're also going to make plushies. So Tasty Peach is also going to work with us on making some Extra Life plushies. So the controller, wings, halo, nice plushie. We'll have again, limited edition for that, a way to earn those. And we're going to work on some rewards for based on like years of service. So a 10-year Extra Lifer might get something, right, or whatnot. So, yes, we do reward fundraising, but we also want to reward loyalty. So there's something to look forward to. And then a couple other things we'll work on throughout the year. So if you do have ideas for future rewards, always share those in Discord. We do pay attention and try to pick things that you all actually want. And we think are cool. Other thing we're doing this year is we're working on a toolkit refresh. So this involves, we're looking at every resource that's in the toolkit, and it's the whole, like, does this need to be edited? Does it need to be deleted? Or does the thing that actually needs to be there exist? And then ultimately, is it where people can find it? Right. So even myself, like, I'm intimately familiar with this toolkit, and even still there's times where it's like, is that in the graphics folder or the media kit folder? So we're going to try and we're going to put a group together and we're going to workshop how best to deliver the resources for Extra Life. What else we got? So volunteers needed. So Extra Life's about the community. So we're going to build together. I think if you look again last week, for those of you who were in Discord when we were working on the tabletop page, and how I was like, hey, what do y'all think about this? I need a good way to say this. What do you think? Crokinole should be mentioned, right? So we want to build stuff together as a community. When we have certain projects that we want to do to develop and evolve the program, then we're going to call for volunteers. We're going to work with the National Volunteer Leadership Team. We're going to work with all of you to figure out, like, what's the best way to present Extra Life, and who better to help us with that than the people who are actually a part of the program. So that's a little bit going back to the world where, like, you have that sense of ownership over the program, right? You have a stake in this. This is your program as much as it is ours. The other thing is, we know that, like, the one thing we do love is community. That's what gaming's about, is coming together, whether it's virtual or in person. And so some of the things we've learned is, like, we don't have to have like this one time that we could come together. There's like Chicago, I have here, Chicago has an event on March 8th. Seattle has their Game On event. There's other hospitals that are planning local events. There's local conventions, and I'm not even talking about TwitchCon or PAX or things like that, but there's MomoCon, Adepticon, Retro Games Con, AdamCon, and I know that's not about Adam Shafani, even though you think it might be. And so there's a bunch of conventions who already, like, they're fundraising $10,000-$15,000 for Extra Life. Extra Life is the charity of choice for those conferences. So this year we want to invest in their success. So we want to make sure that we're like, hey, everybody, this event's happening. How many people can get together at these events? So let's support the events that support us, right? So if your hospital is working on an event, or if you have a local convention that supports Extra Life, then that's another thing we want to start sharing. So when you look at the websites, the Experience Hub will have kind of like the list. So right now, Chicago Gaming Convention and Seattle's Game On is on there. So we're going to even put them on the website so people know, like, these are the Extra Life events around the US and Canada that we want Extra Lifers to show up at. And Adam will be working on some community meetups and stuff, so we can even, like, make sure we all show up wearing the same shirts and really make our presence known. Other thing we're doing is new Extra Lifer orientation. So we have a first year participant, we call it the journey. And so if somebody's first year, so all you veterans, it's been forever since you've probably seen the emails, But right now, it's a couple of emails that they would get after they sign up. But it's like the example that we looked at is like when we talk about incentives and milestones, right? Imagine being a freshman, extra lifer, if you will, and you get an email that says you should do donation incentives as a way to raise more money. Well, the first thing is like, well, what's a donation incentive? So we've rewritten all of the first year messages to think of it more of a freshman orientation where they're very short. It looks like a lot of emails, but they're only like maybe 4 sentences each or something like that. But it really goes in, and if it's longer, there might be a video or something. But it goes into more like, first, let's talk about what the milestone incentive concept is. And if you want to learn more, then there's a link to go learn more about like ideas for how you could do it and how to set it up. So with that, I think we are good. Thank y'all for joining us. And we'll be doing some live stream updates. Every time we have more information to share about Extra Life Unlocked and about what's going on, we'll host some live streams on the Twitch channel and do a few more of these Zoom calls for the major stuff.